slow down for a bit?
No, I'm fine. I can still keep going.
Really? Are you sure you're not just telling yourself that?
I'm fine. Because I don't want to hear anything anymore anyway. Besides, we're almost there.
I understand. Then...
Yeah.
At first, we were both walking. We crossed the highway running across the campus, and when we walked out of the front gate, we started running. After we entered the shopping district and saw the station, we started sprinting. Right now, just ahead of us, after passing the guard, we see a familiar apartment building. I'm holding Setsuna's hand and dragging the weight of her body along with all the strength I can possibly muster. Setsuna is also holding my hand in return as she tries her best to lessen my burden, desperately forcing her legs to keep up as best she can. The way we are now, we're utterly devoid of any composure. We're extremely desperate. I'm sure our anxiousness and the way we're being utterly oblivious to our surroundings looks absolutely ridiculous to any bystanders. Still, the fact that we may be acting inappropriately in the eyes of anyone around us is only a trivial matter to us right now. We're here. After all, it's because we made a promise.
Hey, Haruki-kun,
Yeah?
before we go up on the stage, there's something I want to tell you.
What is it?
I'm going to sing soon. I'm sure I'll remember all about what happened then. And when I remember it, I might start to hate you. I may even come to despise you.
Yeah?
That's why when the concert finishes, I want you to forcefully take me away.
Setsuna.
No matter how hard I cry, no matter how hard I resist, no matter what terrible things I might say to you, just don't wait for me anymore. Promise me that you won't listen to a thing I say while I'm still under this spell, trapped by my memories of the past. Please, promise me.
I understand.
Yeah, thank you.
Because we made a promise. Without bothering to steady our ragged breaths, and without considering what's about to follow after this at all, we passionately bring our lips together. Even though taking in each other's breath like this induces some unpleasant coughing, we absolutely refuse to part. Every time our lips do sloppily come apart, drops of saliva fall from their edges, staining our clothes and even the floor. Slobber, slobber, slobber. But it's the last thing on my mind right now. I simply continue to press against the wall, and with almost enough force to crush her entire body, embrace her while readily kissing her lips. With my free hand, I fumble around for the light switch so that I can lead Setsuna over to the bed. Can't sleep?
Yeah.
The hands of the clock are pointing at 2 right now. After I released everything I had inside Setsuna, we continued kissing for a while. Then, after our excitement died down a little, we reluctantly parted our lips, taking a temporary break with our bodies still cuddling together. All the while, even though I stayed silent with my eyes closed, Setsuna kept intently staring at me. You didn't get any sleep at all since the day before yesterday, did you? You really should get some rest. Not to mention the intense things we just did.
It's fine. I'm not sleepy. Remember, I told you I slept a little during the afternoon, didn't I?
But
Besides, I don't want to sleep just yet.
why?
Because I want to savor this feeling of lying on your bed and being embraced by you, Haruki-kun.
Setsuna,
Though it's fine if you want to sleep, Haruki-kun. You haven't slept in the past 2 days either. Don't worry about me, okay?
no, I'm not very sleepy either. There's so much that happened today, so my mind is still wide awake.
Is that so? I see.
Yeah. I wonder how Setsuna intended the words I just said. Was her first thought of us stepping on the stage for the second time? Or was it after that, when we did it for the first time? The answer is that even I couldn't possibly know.
That was fun!
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, ridiculously fun. Calmer than 3 years ago. More mature than 3 years ago. We both let out a pensive sigh.
I really managed to sing. I can finally sing under the glow of the spotlight again.
You haven't lost your touch at all. You're still in your prime. That's amazing, Setsuna.
Your guitar skills haven't declined either, Haruki-kun. I could still totally rely on you playing and feel at ease following it.
That's just you being biased. You just can't tell the difference between someone playing well and someone playing terribly.
If you put it like that, then it's true for you too, Haruki. Then it's true for you too, Haruki-kun. You can't tell the difference between someone singing well and someone singing horribly, can you?
Really now?
Yep, really.
We fell into silence after that short exchange of words. For a while now, we've been in this delicate state that's neither awkward nor particularly calming. 3 years ago, we couldn't keep talking because we were too nervous. Now, we can't continue talking because our emotions are all over the place.
From now on, stay with me always, okay?
I wonder if it all goes back to that. If Setsuna asked me the same question now, I'm sure I'd be ready to reply with, "We'll be together forever, anytime." Setsuna should know my reply too, but it seems like she can't bring herself to ask, even though she's in my embrace. Is she truly at ease? I need to take a moment to think for myself about my relationship with Setsuna from now on, about how I should make it all up to her, and how I should love her. If I truly want the two of us to stay together forever from now on, I have to make some big decisions and follow through with them. Hey, Setsuna, if you can't sleep, why not take a bath? Because, you're a bit dirty now, in more ways than one. Because of me, I mean. The saliva around our mouths has already dried off, but I'm sure the lower halves of our bodies are still... wow, let's just stop there. Just as I finally tried to get serious, it was almost ruined because of the wave of lust that washed over me all of a sudden. If I asked to do it again right after we finished, it might seem like I'm only after her body, and it would truly make Setsuna even more anxious. The water should be ready soon. I'll go heat it up.
But I don't want your scent to get washed away, Haruki-kun.
Just as I was about to get out of bed, Setsuna half-jokingly complains in a very cute manner.
It's not every day that I can get your saliva on me, Haruki-kun.
You're really not beating around the bush, huh? No, you were beating around the bush, Haruki. No, she's using lighthearted words and taking a lighthearted attitude with me. She's wearing a mischievous expression, as if she's playing a prank on me.
Or are you trying to say you don't like me when I'm dirty? Even though you're the one who got me all dirty in the first place, Haruki-kun?
Look, this really isn't the time to be so blatant about...
Just a little longer. Can't we stay like this for just a little longer? Come on.
Setsuna resorted to using an unusually lascivious expression, while completely ignoring what I just said. If what she said is true, if she's really so dead set on savoring the marks I left on her, if she really just wants to keep indulging in this afterglow of her wishes coming true, if she really just wants to keep indulging in the afterglow of her wishes coming true, thinking positively like that, that's fine too, I guess. Well then, how about I go first?
Don't tell me you're going to wash it away. My scent.
It's not like I'll never get it again if I wash it away now. Aren't we in that kind of relationship at this point?
Well, that's true, but...
We'll be leaving all the marks we want on each other from now on. Leaving them, then erasing them, then leaving them again to our heart's content. We'll both engrave ourselves in the other's body. I'll be out soon. You can watch TV if you're bored. Setsuna? Setsuna wouldn't let go, however. All of a sudden, she tightened her arms around my back, adamantly forbidding our bodies from separating. No, when I think about it, it wasn't actually sudden. Ever since she half-jokingly rejected my initial suggestion, the strength she's been holding me down with has been unusually increasing, to the point of desperation. What's the matter?
I'm cold.
But the heater is on, right?
I'm still cold. I'm just so cold and there's nothing I can do about it.
Setsuna.
I'm so cold.
The room itself couldn't possibly be cold. I knew we would be sleeping naked, so I already set the heater's temperature to a very high level. I'm on the side that's near the window, too. So the chill from the outside shouldn't be reaching Setsuna either. If she feels cold in spite of all that, then the best thing for her to do would really be to warm up in some hot water, but...
Hey, let's sleep, Haruki-kun.
In other words, it's not really Setsuna's body that's feeling cold right now.
Aren't you tired? You haven't slept at all, right?
She'd be cold if she went to take a bath alone. And she'd be cold if I went to take a bath alone too.
So, come on, let's sleep. If I I want to keep looking at your sleeping face, okay?
But
Please, I beg you, don't leave me. At least until morning. Please, let me feel your warmth.
since it's not physically cold, I'm not sure it'll go away even when morning comes.
I'm so cold.
Setsuna really appears to be freezing. Her body is feverish and faintly shivering. Her teeth are chattering, and she's gasping for air. Her bravado from earlier has completely vanished, and now she's like a child who doesn't know what to do, clinging to me as if I were a mother. Setsuna, what could I possibly do to relieve this chill that's taken a hold of her? Rather than leaving her for a bit, would the sole act of changing my mind and sleeping together with her be able to warm Setsuna's heart up once again? But if the solution isn't that simple, then okay, how about we take a bath together? It's a little... No, it's actually very cramped, but if we squeeze in a little, it might fit two people. And you'll only need about a cup of water. Is that a no? If it'll take even more than this to warm Setsuna up. Well, it's not like we have anything to lose. There's really no need for either of us to put up a front anymore, is there? Because I'm sure that what Setsuna is hoping for is...
Sure.
See?
I like cramped places.
Nah. Setsuna? Good morning. Good morning, Setsuna. As Setsuna woke up and looked at me with her half-opened eyes, I felt like I could see a huge question mark written on her face. Is she still asleep? In any case, I know that she's definitely half asleep, given that she still hasn't figured out the situation yet.
It's Haruki-kun.
Well, yeah, it's me. She's acting rather innocently and spoiled right now. Hey, But it's like she hasn't had enough of me spoiling her. She even put her tongue in. Furthermore, she sings while kissing me. Over and over, our lips and tongues touch each other. Thus, I respond to Setsuna's half-conscious assault, intertwining my tongue with hers and sucking her saliva. Side note, still ew. But right when I started, Setsuna suddenly pushed away, widening her eyes. Good morning, Setsuna.
Haruki-kun?
Taken aback, Setsuna screamed when she noticed the saliva on her lips. Then she touched the area around her mouth with her finger.
What in the world did...
Calm down, first of all. But I gathered all of the saliva with my tongue and sent it down her throat. And still, ooh.
This place is...
My apartment. I can't blame Setsuna for being confused. Until morning earlier today, she hadn't closed her eyes for 3 days and nights in a row. In addition to all the singing practice, the actual concert, and our intense exertions.
Haruki-kun?
And now she was instantly dragged back into reality, most likely due to the contradictory circumstances between what she expects from her dreams and what actually happened. Because the me who exists in Setsuna's dreams must be a passive oaf. Whether it's kissing or anything beyond, I bet she'd always be the bold, proactive one.
Could you, forget about what happened just now? I have low blood pressure in the morning.
I don't think you should worry about that, especially compared to what we did last night. I realized after thinking about it for a moment, the low blood pressure isn't something you should worry about, isn't an appropriate comment to make in this situation. After all, while I was sorting through my thoughts, the color on Setsuna's face was,
Please forget about what happened last night as well.
don't wanna.
Haruki-kun?
At first, she was bright red. Now she's turned pale. She must be really anxious. Besides, aren't we still holding on to each other while naked?
I suppose we really are naked.
As she removed the blanket wrapped around her and looked down, Setsuna's face turned bright red once again.
I'm not wearing anything.
Your clothes are over there, all neatly folded. Feel free to put them on if you're cold, because the gap between now and last night is too great. And she just doesn't know what to do.
This is Haruki-kun's apartment, right?
Yep, that's what I just said.
I stayed the night here.
Not just that, we also...
Don't say it!
But Setsuna, you and I
want to remember it on my own. I want to process by myself that it all really happened.
With those words, I could finally tell for sure. Setsuna doesn't intend on forgetting about everything that happened yesterday, as well as everything leading up to it. How she regained her ability to sing, how she regained her fans, how she regained her courage to perform on stage, how she regained this bond. Setsuna? But while Setsuna was processing her memories, she once again did something beyond my imagination, leaving me dumbfounded.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Wait, why are you apologizing, Setsuna? If anyone did anything wrong, it's me.
Because I'm so happy. I'm just so happy.
No one should apologize because they're happy. But, of course, I can't possibly point out this shamelessly prudent fact right now.
I managed to sing. I managed to stay over. And I managed to sleep together with you. And then we made love. I received your love, Haruki-kun. I'm so happy I could die.
Come here, Setsuna.
Haruki-kun. Haruki-kun.
Setsuna removed the blanket that separated us in one swift motion and returned to the spot where she was just a moment ago. In other words, laying on my chest.
No way. I must still be half asleep. Just remembering what happened is making me cry so hard.
Setsuna, just like that. Setsuna cried while clinging onto my chest. She is completely different from the excited girl she was last night. The girl who's right here before me now is a person which Setsuna herself was supposed to have completely destroyed last night. The illusion I had always harbored within me, the innocent girl named Ogaso Setsuna.
So, now you know.
Know what?
You've seen the real me, Haruki-kun. You've seen everything.
She buries her face into my chest and sobs lightly. Then, with her face still buried, Setsuna slowly starts speaking.
I confess, that was the true Ogaso Setsuna.
The true?
Dark, resentful, perverted, and with a hopelessly corrupted personality.
Do I have any basis at all right now to tell her that she's not that sort of person at all? Setsuna is still haunted by what happened 3 years ago, even when we confessed our love, or as we kissed, or while we were in each other's embrace. Even during such blissful moments, she would suddenly recall the past and start sulking, getting mad, crying, and asking for atonement. However, the only way she tried to alleviate those waves of negative emotions, be it to apologize and atone, or to aid and rehabilitate, was through the act of a man and a woman longing for one another, acting out of desire and pleasure. She wanted to make up for something that we should have been dealing with over the course of 3 years in a mere 3 hours.
Please, I hope you won't hate me now that you know.
Dark, resentful, and perverted. But those are all connected by a single thread.
You've probably been completely disillusioned now. And maybe you can only see me as a burden now. But could you still accept me the way I am?
Setsuna,
I'm sorry.
it was all my fault. I'm the one who's supposed to shoulder this burden. That statement is logically correct. They are the correct words for me. Listen, I once said that I loved the Setsuna who sings in front of me more than anyone else in the world, right?
Yeah, you also said that the current me is in the second place at most.
This really isn't the time for keen insights like that.
I told you, I'm very depressing.
But if I look at it emotionally, it's completely wrong. To Setsuna, it must sound like a cliche phrase by now. Well, starting today, that order has changed. I think you can already guess what I'm about to say.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
As she said that, Setsuna tightened her grip around me. I felt her heartbeat quicken against my chest as goosebumps appeared on her arms, and her face started to turn red again. Just now, the Setsuna I'm holding in my arms has become the girl I love the most in this world. Upon hearing those words that were correct according to my emotions, the correct words for us, Setsuna reciprocated with the tightness of her embrace, with the warmth of her body, and with a single stream of tears, undoubtedly precious and pure, no matter how many times she has shown them before. Hey, Setsuna, isn't it time for us to get up?
What time is it?
5 o'clock, a little after?
5 o'clock? Even though it's so bright outside?
Well, that's pretty normal for February.
But
You must be hungry. Would you like dinner? Well, I can only make you something simple, though.
dinner?
I realized it in the middle of our conversation, but I held back from pointing it out until now. It seems Setsuna still isn't fully awake yet. The west is over there. If it were east, we'd have been sleeping with our heads facing north. I told her that as I pointed to the view of the setting sun through the window.
Hey, I've been a bother, haven't I?
What do you mean?
I completely overslept by a whole 12 hours.
That's really not the case. In the end, I wasn't capable of dissuading the insistent Setsuna from making dinner as a form of apology and chasing me out of the kitchen, if it can even be considered one. I had no choice but to appease her with my guitar.
But Haruki-kun, you were awake the whole time, right? You stayed right by my side until I woke up, right?
Thanks for the treat.
We're not even talking about the same thing. And I thought you usually paid more attention to things like that.
Setsuna didn't oversleep for 12 hours. After all, I normally wake up at 6 o'clock, so it was actually only 11 hours.
You could have just woken me up.
I didn't have time for something like that. At least, not while I had the important task of watching you sleep, Setsuna.
I almost cut my finger just now, you know?
I knew you wouldn't make a mistake like that, Setsuna. I said that knowing full well that you wouldn't.
Jeez, come on. Just stop teasing me already.
In exchange for enduring my 3 human desires for 11 hours, I was able to enjoy Setsuna with my entire body for the following 11 hours. So, it's more than enough for me. Besides, if you wanted to apologize, you should have just gotten out of the bed the moment you woke up. By the time I told her that it was about time to get up, it was around 5 o'clock in the evening. But Setsuna just replied with interjections like, or,
yeah.
All while her face was buried in my chest. She wrote something on my back with her finger, too. Even though it was just 2 simple hiragana characters, she wouldn't tell me what it was.
I'm assuming?
My hiragana is awful. And yet, at the same time, waves of words and emotions escaped from her mouth, giving me an idea of what it was. She breathed on my chest, lightly kissed me, rubbed her thighs against mine, and sometimes she even touched certain spots with her toes. But perhaps because the sun was still up, she refused to do anything beyond that. So she'd just give up and slouch on top of me.
Come on! Didn't I tell you that I have low blood pressure? I'm not very good with mornings.
It's 7 o'clock in the evening now, though, isn't it? To put a long story short, we ended up flirting in bed for over 2 hours. I'm amazed that I managed to keep my rationale in check.
I'm very bad at getting out of bed. Jeez, could you at least get that part straight?
Are you really that bad at it?
It's incredibly difficult. I usually laze around in bed for half an hour every morning.
Oh, that's a mood. You ended up taking 4 times as long earlier, though. Well, shouldn't it be the worst for you around this time period? You're not very good with the cold, after all, Setsuna.
Did I say that?
Yeah, just last night, you said you were cold. That's why I never took my eyes off her. Setsuna eventually fell asleep in my embrace after having her body and her heart warmed up. But the cold she felt before that was rather unusual. She felt cold despite her body not feeling cold whatsoever. That's why, if the warmth in her heart ended up subsiding again, and if she were to realize that I'm not next to her when she wakes up, the moment that thought crossed my mind, I couldn't bring myself to get out of bed. No, I couldn't even bring myself to fall asleep again.
As I thought, I did end up being a bother to you.
I told you earlier, didn't I? It was really my pleasure.
But
I mean it. It made me really happy. I never felt so happy up until today.
Haruki-kun?
And that's because I was able to bring you warmth. Because it's something only I could do.
Yeah.
I mean it. I feel truly blissful and fulfilled from the bottom of my heart. Because it's finally something I can do. I can finally hold on to Setsuna when she's freezing and share my warmth with her. And now I can continue to stay by her side until the day comes when she never feels cold again. And I hope that someday she can fall asleep without me holding her. That she can come to believe she'll be fine even if we're separated. And that she'll be able to feel genuinely happy from the bottom of her heart.
I should go home after all.
With only the meager assets I had left over in my fridge at her disposal, Setsuna desperately tried to come up with something for us. It's been such a long time since I last tried her cooking, but that only made it taste all the more nostalgic. I thought that it was only natural that it tasted delicious, and that saying such a thing to her wouldn't even be considered praise. That's why I chose to focus on shamelessly sating my appetite. Which is why when I heard her ask, "Does it taste good?" while I was eating, I nearly choked.
It's about time I stopped selfishly riding on the excuse that I want to stay here forever just because I feel cold, don't you think?
And Setsuna found the opportunity to say that the moment she noticed that we were almost finished with the food on the table. It's a decision she made on the 5th day since she first arrived in my apartment. If you really want to go back, Setsuna, then I have no reason to oppose you, but I make it quite clear what my words are implying. You can stay as long as you like.
I'm sure my dad is really mad, and my mom must be worried.
And I'm sure Setsuna managed to read between the lines just fine. That's why she noticed, with a lonely yet happy expression, before she said those words.
I haven't contacted them since last night. I'm sure they'll yell at me when I get home.
I've already called them saying that you're at my apartment. I told them the concert wore you out, so you've been sleeping this whole time.
You never leave anything to chance, do you, Mr. Class Representative?
I'd say speaking to Setsuna's dad while she's stark naked and using my arm as a pillow is an improper conduct for a class representative, though. That's why You can stay as long as you like. In the end, unsatisfied with exchanging messages through our glances, I say it out loud. I won't have to go to work for a while after all. And besides, isn't it spring break? So...
Even so, I can't stay any longer. I'm sure my parents won't tolerate it any longer.
I'll go and get yelled at along with you. We'll apologize together. I'll go every day until they forgive us.
Haruki-kun?
That's why I don't want you to worry about how anyone else feels. It's fine if you make your decision based on what you want and your own feelings. Think things through, and then decide. For as long as that takes, I'll stay right by your side.
You're being unfair.
Saw right through me, huh? That's just purely what I'm hoping for. I just want to be together with you, even if only for a little longer.
If you leave that decision up to me, I feel like I'll never actually leave this apartment. Like, I'll never be able to leave your side again, Haruki-kun.
That would be fine as well. I wouldn't really mind at all. Still seated at the table after dinner, we find ourselves enveloped by a sweet yet heavy silence. With both of our eyes cast downward, we think long and hard on a decision that won't hurt us, though it's also one that will bother us. But whenever we cast a fleeting glance at one another, our eyes lock together, and we smile happily at each other. At least, for tonight. Just stay here for one more day.
Okay.
This heavy yet blissful silence, although frustrating, feels pleasant nonetheless. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Well, Setsuna and Haruka have finally gotten back together. Of the 5 choices, now that we've gotten to know them all, personally, I probably would have gone for Kazusa. No, it probably wouldn't have worked out because we're both too socially inept to make the first move.